Ash Sarkar, who's a lively contributor to this programme, has tweeted, Andrew Tate, who you're interviewing about free speech, thinks women are a man's property. We shouldn't be allowed to drive. Boasts about only dating teenagers to imprint on them. Misogynists are discussing whether they're in Afghanistan or a swanky London studio.
Am I a misogynist, am I? I don't think, first of the things she said, I don't even truly believe. If you're prepared to listen to me, I'll explain to you exactly why she's completely and utterly wrong. If you can go through the points again, she said.
Do you think you're a misogynist?
Absolutely not. I'm not a misogynist on any level. This is one of those buzzwords they just throw at people randomly. Homophobic, racist, misogynist. They just throw it out at people.
What is your view of women?
I'm a realist.
What is your real view of women?
I absolutely not really love women. I adore women. I have good relationships with women. Not a single woman has come up to me on the street since I've been canceled. Not a single one has said anything negative. Every single one of them has said positive things. You're a traditional male. I wish more men were like you. You understand your masculine roles. You understand what you're supposed to do. You understand you're supposed to protect women. You're exactly the kind of man I'd be looking for. I've never had a negative interaction with a female ever since I've been dubbed the biggest misogynist.
Please
let me finish. I'm sorry, Pierce. Also, there's not been a single woman who's accused me of a crime, not a single woman who's accused me of rape, not a single woman who's come out and said anything from my entire past of 36 years I've done anything wrong ever. Anybody else with my level of fame, any footballer, any other movie star, at least has people who've come out and accused them of rape, X, Y, Z. I have no woman who's come out and ever said I've hurt her, no woman who's come out and ever said I've done damage to her or been horrible to her. Everybody who ever interacted with me has said I've been a nice person. All of them. Random Twitter nobody who seems to know so much is full of...
All right, you've responded to her tweet.
Yeah, she's a liar.
But where is the line for you between masculinity, which I will always defend, and which I agree with? I think a lot of women like men to be masculine, and what has become known as toxic masculinity. And the reason I ask you is that you are engaged in that debate with men all the time. Where is the line for you where men shouldn't cross, where the behaviour should be kept within a line?
Yeah, when you're a fucking dickhead.
Well, you tell me what you think it crosses a line from being a masculine, good man to a bad man.
There's no such thing as too much masculinity if it's genuinely masculine. Genuine masculinity is not out here to hurt people. It's absolutely the opposite. It's out here to protect. And when bad things happen, they call traditionally masculine men. If you need a firefighter, you need a masculine man. When you call the police because of the problem you have, you want masculine men. And as soon as a woman or a man is in trouble, when you look for backup, you look for masculine men. And masculine men have a duty to provide and protect those they care about. We have a duty to do things we don't feel like doing because we know we're supposed to do them. And that's why we stayed in the Titanic and died. Those were masculine men.
Where did you get your views about this from?
That's what I grew up with.
What you mean? What other fucking definition of it is? I mean, that makes sense. Because masculinity is a social social construct. These nuts. Wrong shirt on, bruh. Come on, dog. I'm just glad Pierce is letting Andrew talk this time. You know what I mean? Come on, bruh. Man's man, dog. Man's man. Just don't be a fucking dickhead. Man's man.
Grew up around in
your father, your mother,
yeah,
both?
and the world I lived in. And I think a lot of the things I'm saying now about masculinity and how people should act in the world, how the world should function, were considered completely normal and accepted by everybody only 20 years ago. I think the world's just lost its mind. For me to stand up and say a man should protect a woman now gets to be called a misogynist and canceled. If I said that 10 years ago, everyone would say, duh. And what's funny is, everyone who argues against me and says men shouldn't protect women, especially all the feminists, if they were with their boyfriend and a man broke into their house, guess who they'd expect to go downstairs? Who do you think? Think they go themselves? Are they going to Afghanistan? No, we send men to do these things. So
well, we send women in the armed forces too.
You have to generalize when you make points.
There are many courageous people.
Exceptions do not disprove.
Facts, bro. Women in the military is an exception, bro. What's the percentage of this shit, dog? Y'all know it. It's small as hell, bro. It's like 85-90% of motherfuckers that are in the armed forces are men. Stop throwing these little exceptions out here to fucking prove a point. It's irrelevant, dog. It proves no point.
No, but you've got to concede there are many courageous women serving.
Yeah, but they're not doing, and they're not on the front line whooping ass like that, bro. They somewhere safe. The majority of those, the majority of the exceptions are somewhere safe.
You're correct, but by and large, traditionally, soldiers are men. Exceptions do not disprove the rule.
Facts.
Well, it's not an exception. It's a fact that there are a lot of women now in the armed forces.
Correct. But if you were to take the average soldier, they are a male. If you're allowed to say who's a male and who isn't nowadays, I'm assuming their gender, I apologize. If you were to take the average soldier, they're a male, which means that exceptions are the female soldiers, which because there's a lower percent of them, a lower probability. Exceptions do not disprove the rules. Men.
Hold on, let's look up the stat, bro. It's small as shit, dog, and Pierce is out here using that. Stop giving Pierce so much attention, dog. Hold on. What percentage of the military is women?
Here is information from Zippia.
Militaries by gender. Male, 72%. Female, 27%. The minority. What percentage of the Army is female? 15.6% of the Army is female. And I'd imagine the majority of females are in the Air Force. Hold on, what percentage of the Air Force or the Navy? 20.9% of the Air Force is women. Let's see, in the Navy, 16% of the Navy is women. Let's try Marines. What percentage of the Marines? 6.3% of the Marine Corps is women. So what it said 27% of the that must be like worldwide or some shit, bro, because by my calculation it's a lot lower than what the fuck that was. 20.9 in the Air Force, 6.3 in the Marines, 15% in the Army, 16% in the Navy. By my calculation, that's probably like 11-12% of the military, at least in America, is women, dog.
And do the fighting. Right now in Ukraine, men cannot leave. Women are allowed to leave because men have to fight in the front line and women are allowed to go to Dubai. That is how it is.
What do you say to young men who come to you for advice, who feel lost, who don't really know where they fit into society?
I say that life as a man is exceptionally difficult. I say the most beautiful and the most terrifying thing about being a man is you're born without value. Society doesn't care about you. You're only going to be cared about based on how useful you are. You have the chance to build yourself up and become a superhero if you're prepared to do the hard work and be indefatigable enough to never quit. But if you're going to stand around and wait for a handout, nobody's going to ever respect you. And I think that a lot of people have forgotten about how difficult and how competitive it is as a man. We're always in constant competition with each other. And it's your duty as a man to stand up and say, I want to be as important and strong and good-hearted and God-fearing as possible. And I need to work hard to achieve those things.
Dame Sheila Hancock says we've become too over-emotional as a society,
Facts.
crying too much about everything.
Facts.
She got a point?
She's completely right. And the dangerous thing about overly emotional men is that they're dangerous. They're genuinely dangerous. This is what's crazy. All these people who talk about toxic masculinity and how bad it is for men to be traditionally masculine. A traditionally masculine man does things he doesn't feel like doing because it is his duty to do them. He charges into the building because it is his duty. Not because he feels like it, because it is his duty. We're now teaching the new generation of men that they don't have duty and they can just act on their feelings and act how they feel and they don't have to act as a man should. Do you know what happens when you get men who just act how they feel? You get
Serial killers.
You get violence. You get rapists. Men who do not control their emotions are dangerous. If you find a man who is stoic, he's not going to hurt people. He's going to sit and think about his actions very carefully, and he's going to be a good man who protects and provides for his family.
He over here, goddamn. I mean, I ain't going to say smoking Pierce, because Pierce is actually letting him talk this time. So appreciate that, dog, because that first interview was a fucking shit show. But, and Tate was a little... But this is the tape, you know, we all know and love, dog, dropping his dick on the table like, hey, this is what it is, do. And there's really nothing you can clap back at what Tate is saying if you live in reality. You know what I mean? But it's like the reality is the minority now, dog, because the majority of motherfuckers is in la la land, bro.
Man who just acts out on impulse and does whatever he feels like, you're going to find a dangerous man. Sitting here telling men to cry more and act with their feelings and it's okay to feel this way, that way, etc., and have no self-control. That is why we have the problems we have in the world. Absolutely and utterly wrong. So when they talk about toxic masculinity, they have it completely inversed on its head, completely and utterly wrong. We need to be teaching stoicism. We need to be teaching young men to understand that the world is very, very difficult. It's hard to be a man. You're going to feel bad sometimes. You need to suck it up and perform anyway. Don't just sit there and cry your eyes out or blame other people.
Tough
or
being a
cop
woman
out.
Too in modern society.
It's certainly tough being a woman, but I'm not a woman, so why would I speak on issues I do not understand? I'm a man.
You can feel an empathy for women.
I feel empathy, certainly, but I do not understand their issues.
Man, shut your stupid ass up, Pierce. I get it, though. I get it. This is for the show. Bro. He over here talking about the man's plight, the man's struggle. Women have it hard, too. Bitch, we ain't talking about that, dog. That ain't what we talking about, bro. I can't identify with a female struggle, bro. I'm sure they struggling. You know what I mean? We talking about what the fuck men going through. And society treats men like they fucking have it all plush out here and it's easy to fucking be a man. He's sitting here telling you it ain't, bro. It ain't peachy keen, dog. You either built for it or you not. And the newer generation of these men are not built for it because society's molding these motherfuckers to be bitches, bro. And that's a formula for a goddamn disaster, dog. That's what we talking about, man.
See, a lot of men come up to me and they admire you. I've got to say, a lot of women I've spoken to don't admire. They think you represent misogyny. They think when they hear you not commit to saying the Taliban shouldn't be banning women from university education, well, why can't he just say that's wrong?
Well, firstly, that's not my experience. I experienced the absolute and utter opposite of that.
Yeah, but I will say, you know that there's these dumb, ditzy moronic women out here who have been blinded by the little short snippets of Tate and develop these strong opinions on them. You know, because you see it, dog. Just because you ain't experienced it, you know that shit exists. And there's a bunch of women out here who would want to fucking put Andrew Tate's head on a fucking spike. You know what I'm saying? Figuratively. So him to say that, so for Tate to say that is like asinine. It's not what you experience personally. Does not mean that shit doesn't exist, because you know for sure it exists, dog. It's just, I'd imagine you got to be one tough cookie type of woman to step up to you and like, hey, bitch, fuck you, you misogynist. Women ain't gonna fucking do that. You know what I mean? So.
Secondly, it's because it's a moral point I'm making. My moral point is I speak on things I understand. I speak on experiences I've had.
But you believe in equality?
I speak, yes. I speak on, sure. I speak on subjects
I
I
don't
know
think Pierce know what equality is if you're asking that question.
I do not feel qualified. I'm a realist, and I do not feel qualified to sit and discuss
Men and women are not
the
equal.
gender laws in Afghanistan. I have not been to Afghanistan. I have not researched the subject thoroughly. I'm not going to sit here and say how the Taliban should be running their country. It's nothing to do with me. I find it quite flattering, Piers, that although, I understand I'm monumentally influential, the most Google man on earth, etc., I find it very flattering that you think I have some kind of control over the domestic policy of Afghanistan. But I assure you I don't.
He just wants to know your opinion, though. That's all he is. He wants to know your opinion. Do you not feel that it's wrong that the Taliban have made it illegal for women to go to university? Bruh, even I would say that, dog. Like, that's fucked up. Women deserve to go seek further education, and the Taliban is making that shit impossible now. Tate don't want to say that. Like, it ain't got nothing to do with me. It ain't got nothing to do with me. Let the feminists go ahead and figure it out. Like, he's just being petty by saying that. You know what I mean? Like, I'd imagine there's men out here, well, I don't know, because the Taliban is a motherfucker, bro. You gonna risk your life to make sure women can go seek further education? I'm talking about the Taliban. Right? America don't even want to fuck with the Taliban. Taliban fucking crazy. And so, you know what I mean? Like, y'all got to get the fuck up out of there, pretty much. But is it wrong? It's absolutely fucking wrong. But what the fuck you supposed to do? Women cannot fight Taliban. You're going to expect men to go over there and fight on the women's behalf to make sure they can get education.
So it's nothing to do with
I'm not asking you to have a view on having influence of a domestic policy. I'm sure the Taliban couldn't give a stuff what either of us say about it. It's just curious to me that it's an easy win for you to make women think you're not anti them, to say that when they're not given equality, as the women in Afghanistan clearly are not, because they're not allowed to go to university now as of today, that is clearly unequal, unfair. We should all be able to agree that that is wrong.
Well, certainly, as
right.
a realist,
Even you, tough guy, Andrew.
It's not tough guy. I am a professional. As a professional, I can state that yes, it is not equal. Yes, it is not fair. That is obvious for anybody. I'm not saying those things are not true. What I'm saying is it's nothing to do with me.
Right, okay, but you made a concession you think is wrong. Then.
I said it's unequal and it's unfair.
Yeah, so wrong.
Well, perhaps.
Force yourself, Andrew.
No, perhaps it's wrong under certain moral guidelines, but under the moral guidelines which are currently in charge of the jurisdiction of Afghanistan, they don't believe it's wrong. It's nothing to do with me.
Well,
I'm not going to sit here and tell other countries how to run their laws. I'm going to live in societies with laws I respect.
You know what? I'll take unfair and unequal.
Sure.
Because that's self-explanatory. We're going to have a game of chess in a minute after the break, because you are a very good chess player.
That was funny, bro. That was funny.